The story begins in a hilly area, where a young magic student called Spica prepares herself to take off from a cliff and fly for the first time. Below the cliff, her friend, Aria, warns Spica that her skeleton will transform into a pretzel if she fails the fly. Ignoring her taunt, Spica chants a flying spell with great focus and runs towards the edge of the cliff. As she finally jumps off, it looks like Spica is about to succeed. But then, reality hits her harder than a slap from Truck Hun. She fails the takeoff and collapses to the ground, but luckily, the hard ground spares her life. Despite Spica's awful injuries, Aria takes this chance to make fun of her. Spica doesn't take her mockery to heart, though. Instead, she speaks about her dreams with dreamy eyes, wanting to study in Diana Academy, where the legendary sorcerer called Claude Sirius is a professor. Claude is one of the world's 10 first-class sorcerers, and it's said that his magic has the power to move stars. Naturally, Spica idolizes a powerful sorcerer like him, so she uses him as a source of motivation for her training. However, Aria reminds her of the brutal reality that she can't even use a single spell. Then, she also points out that Claude has fallen off recently. Apparently, some time ago, a group of dangerous cultists attacked Diana Academy. Back then, Claude ran away like a coward, so he got the reputation of being all talk. Hearing this, Spica grows silent, but she still remains defensive about her idol. Aria realizes that she went too far, so she hugs her and apologizes. Spica remains mad at her, so Aria reminds her that if she keeps going like this, she'll fail the entrance exam for the Diana Academy. She suggests hiring a magic tutor, but Spica can't do that since her parents are having trouble feeding all their kids. Thinking about her broke family, Spica starts crying, so Aria takes pity on her. As a genius of water magic, she promises to teach her everything she knows to help her join the Diana Academy. Right after making this announcement, Diana tells Spica that she can pay for her services with her body, so she gets upset that she's still joking. Without anyone's support, Spica continues her self-learning journey. However, her next attempt once again results in a catastrophic failure. As Spica cries about her hopeless situation, a nearby black kitten gets mad at her for disturbing its nap. Suddenly, Spica realizes that a cat somehow spoke to her, and the cat also gets shocked that she can understand it. Spica wonders if the black cat is a magic beast in disguise, but the cat gets offended and blows her away. After Spica falls for the billionth time in the present hour, the cat warns her to never call it a beast again. It proudly explains that it was once a human magician, but it was trapped in a cat's body by a curse. Hearing this, Spica begs the cat to become her master since it could teach her some useful magic spells. After learning that Spica wants to join the Diana Academy, the cat wonders if she's missing half her brain. Spica knows that she's basically got no chance, but she stubbornly refuses to quit and begs the cat to teach her. The cat refuses and starts to leave, so Spica stops it and offers to do anything it wants as long as it helps her get into the Diana Academy. Hearing this, the cat finally gets interested and turns around with a malicious look in its eyes. Spica thinks it wants to do some illegal stuff with her, but she still feels prepared to do it for the sake of her career. However, the cat shuts down her perverted thoughts and decides to take her as an apprentice slave. Spica thanks him for its apparent kindness, and her new master tells her to visit the capital city to begin their training. Once they arrive at the capital, Spica wonders why the cat brought her there. For her first assignment, the cat tells her to chant a spell called "Bring Me a Drink." Hearing Spica shout the spell, a nearby waitress takes her order and brings over the drink. Realizing she got scammed, Spica screams at the cat for abusing her and tells it to pay for itself. However, she notes that all the people around them are treating the cat like a normal animal, so she's really the only person who can talk to it. Meanwhile, the cat feels traumatized by Spica's furious outburst, so it decides to give her an impossible task to make her quit magic. It takes her to the royal library, where most of the world's precious knowledge is stored. The cat explains that it's looking for a book called the Book of Providence, which supposedly grants its reader the ability to see everything. Using this ability, the cat wants to undo its curse, so he orders Spica to find the book from the library in 1 month. Spica wonders if he will help her search the gigantic maze of books, but he shows her that if an animal touches anything valuable, an alarm goes off and the guards chase it off. Spica complains that there's no way she can find the book so quickly, but the cat tells her to quit magic if she can't. Left with no other choice, she starts painstakingly sifting through the library's massive stores. As she reads a certain book about cat transformations, it actually transforms her into a cat herself. The black cat explains that any spellbook could immediately activate, so she should be careful when reading them out loud. After a long while of traumatizing spells, Spica loses all her motivation for the rest of the day. Seeing her so exhausted, the cat thinks she'll give up in just 3 days. However, as the days go by, Spica continues her search despite all the obstacles in her way. After 29 days of searching, the black cat finds her studying an ancient language. The cat wonders why she's reading an irrelevant book, but Spica explains that she's trying to understand ancient languages since the Book of Providence is most likely written in one. Hearing this, the cat gets impressed by her wisdom, but it reminds her that the final day is already over, so she has failed her mission. Without sparing another second, the cat starts leaving the library. Spica still begs it to teach her, so he wonders why she's so obsessed with joining the Diana Academy. Feeling flustered, she explains that she wants to join the academy to see her beloved master Claude. The cat reminds Spica that Claude is just a fraud, but she dismisses it as a false rumor. She explains that she has seen Claude's strength with her own eyes since she was present at the cult attack. Back then, the situation had seemed hopeless as the cult had destroyed most of the city. One by one, the people around Spica also lost their lives to the cult. At some point, she gave up all hope and prepared herself for death, but suddenly, the legendary Claude appeared and defeated the beast that was about to attack her. After defeating the ferocious beast, Claude comforted Spica and praised her for staying strong throughout the vicious attacks. At that moment, the young girl instantly fell in love with him, and she decided that she'd join the Diana Academy no matter what. While gushing over Claude, Spica declares that she'll become a magician like him who can risk their own life to protect other people. Hearing this, the cat feels surprised. Then, it suddenly mocks Spica for wanting to protect strangers since she'd get nothing good out of it. Spica remains silent, hoping that he stays in its animal form forever. Meanwhile, as the cat starts heading out again, Spica notices some hidden text on a giant book cover in the hall. Interested, the cat joins her to inspect the cover since Spica can read the ancient language. She reads the text written on the cover, which forms a secret code. As she speaks the hidden code, a lock gets broken around the cover, revealing a huge book inside. Once the book opens, it shows a dark hall, and the cat praises Spica for finding the hidden passage. He thinks that the strange portal might be hiding the Book of Providence, so it enters it with Spica. After they cross the passageway together, Spica is impressed by the massive night sky stretching outside the exit. There, the cat notes that the book is hiding in extra-dimensional space, where the owners of the library are storing their most secret books. Spica wonders if the Book of Providence is also inside, and suddenly, a voice rings out from a nearby tombstone. This voice declares itself to be the Book of Providence, and it reassures Spica that it's the real deal. Spica wonders how the book knows her name, but it reminds her that it can literally see everything. She then asks the book if it knows how to undo her friend's curse. The Book of Providence confirms that it knows how to undo the curse, and it explains that the kitty's soul has been transferred into another body using forbidden magic. However, it also reveals that Spica can undo the curse by using her rebirth magic on him. Hearing that she has such a powerful ability, Spica almost forgets her own name. She then wonders if she can really use the rebirth spell, so the book reminds her of how easily her wounds heal. Spica finally recalls all her failures from flying and realizes that it's not normal to survive a 100-meter fall with just a bloody nose. As Spica gradually gains a massive boost in self-esteem, she cheers up and regains hope for her future. Meanwhile, the black cat also feels excited to finally return to its human form. Spica asks the book how she can cure the cat of its curse, so it tells her to inject her magic inside its body with a kiss. This leaves the young girl flustered, and she refuses to give her first kiss to a fake cat with a human soul. Then, the cat gets mad at her since it just wants to be free, and it screams at her to just shut off her brain and finish the job. However, the book stops both of their fantasies by pointing out that the curse isn't broken by a kiss on the lips. Instead, the book declares that she must kiss the cat where the sun never shines. This time, Spica goes into a complete panic mode since breaking the curse sounds like the worst romantic comedy ever. The cat also agrees, wondering why the kiss needs to be in such a weird place. The book explains that by kissing the cat on the butt, Spica can help the magic spread more quickly through its body. Spica wonders if there's really no other way to break the curse, but before she can ask the book, she notices a library guard approaching them, but the guard suddenly collapses in front of everyone. Before passing out from his injuries, he warns Spica that the library is under attack from the cultists. Behind the guard, a vicious two-headed Orthus appears and roars inside the magical space. The Black Cat notes that the cultists were taken down by the military after their famous incident, so this attack must be led by a straggler group that managed to hide. Spica runs away from the beast, wondering what they should do in this situation. The cat tells her to keep on running since they can only wait for reinforcements from the capital to arrive. After they find a hiding spot, the cat tells Spica to act as bait while it escapes the library. Spica refuses to get scammed again and prevents it from leaving her alone. The cat then tells her that if she wants to live, she should undo his curse to restore his magic powers. Even though Spica values her life, she doesn't want to kiss a human cat's waste disposal center. The cat reminds her that they'll both die if she keeps chickening out, and he leaves her, saying that her big words from earlier were all talk. Hearing this, Spica finally changes her mind, and she tries to chase after the cat. Suddenly, the Orthus appears behind her, and in an instant, all Spica can see is a wall of bright, hot flames blowing straight towards her. In her last moments, she regrets her decision to turn away the cat's help. However, just then, the cat appears in front of her and blocks the Orthus's attack with his magic power. To save her from the monster, it blows her away so she can escape from the library. Spica refuses to flee, realizing that after all her talk about protecting other people, she's relying on someone else to save her life again. This time, she knows she has a choice, so she turns around and charges straight into the hot flames. There, she finds the cat unconscious and picks him up to break its curse. After Spica injects the rebirth magic into the cat, he recovers from his injuries and transforms back into its human body. Once the human is back, he easily dispels the Orthus's flames and protects Spica in his arms. Up close, she realizes that the cat was actually her role model, Claude. Without any time to talk, Claude casts his grand magic called Icing Arrow, which turns the huge Orthus into a dog-flavored popsicle. After the dog is defeated, the remaining cultists flee from the library. Meanwhile, Spica feels shocked that the cat was all along, since he's a huge jerk in real life compared to the person she saw a few years ago. Claude reminds her that they only met for a few moments in the past, so she never got to see the real version of him. Spica realizes that despite his harsh words, he protected her from the Orthus just like back then. Claude himself starts walking away since Spica is now useless to him, but she pleads with him to teach her some magic. Suddenly, he transforms back into his cat form since Spica's rebirth magic has been used up. This time, Spica also starts walking away to spite the ungrateful cat. Claude gets mad at the Book of Providence since he was supposed to be fully cured. The book explains that since Spica is too weak, she can't permanently break Claude's curse until she reaches his level. To regain his freedom, Claude prepares to train her to become the world's 11th first-class magician. Spica feels like she's dreaming, but Claude reassures her that she can do it with his training. Finally, he declares that he'll resume his job at Diana Academy as her personal teacher and class professor. As Spica starts spending time with Claude, she even begins seeing him in her dreams. Unfortunately, instead of being her beloved Prince Charming, Dream Claude reminds her of her butt-kissing beauty. Shocked, she wakes up while the real Claude bangs against her window outside. In her terror, she mistakes him for Claude Sirius instead of Sirius. Before going out to train, once Spica is back to her senses, Claude asks her if she knows how magic works. She thinks that magic is related to a person's dreams and imagination, but Claude quickly shuts her down. He explains that magic is only determined by a person's natural affinity. This means that a person who is born without flying magic will never be able to take off no matter how much they practice, like Spica with her flying trials. Claude reveals that only people with the Sagittarius and Aries zodiac signs can use flying magic, so Spica wonders what she can do with her Virgo sign. She learns that Virgo is typically associated with fertility, so she can learn planting magic. Spica gets excited that she's not worthless after all, and wonders if her rebirth magic is also associated with her Virgo sign. However, Claude tells her that the rebirth magic is attribute-less, and she should keep it a secret from everyone else. After his warning, he tells her to start practicing her planting magic on a sapling. As she points her wand at the sapling, Claude informs Spica that the wand is simply a release point for all the stored magic inside her body. Before releasing her magic with a chant, he instructs her to imagine the seedling growing into a large plant. Claude explains that the more vivid her image, the more effective her magic will be. Hearing this, Spica closes her eyes and casts a serious chant, which causes the tiny sapling to grow into a large plant. Shocked, Spica bursts out into excitement for her first ever successful magic spell. Unfortunately for her, Claude doesn't care for small starting steps since he wants her to reach the peak of magic. Spica feels upset that he's so heartless and decides that from now on, she'll stop idolizing Claude as a hero and focus her entire life on learning magic. Suddenly, Claude reminds her that she didn't stop the magic. Out of nowhere, the giant sapling grows to a massive size, catching Spica on one vine. Unfortunately, she completely fails to stop it and ends up looking like she got kidnapped by her own plant. Even Claude feels surprised since he has never seen someone so awful at controlling magic. After he helps untangle her, Spica starts panicking as she wonders how a talentless hack like her will pass Diana Academy's exam. Just then, her brother runs up and informs her that their mother got injured while working on their family farm. Spica rushes to check on her and finds out that she broke her leg. Her mom wonders if she can work on the farm while she's injured, but Spica reminds her that she needs time to prepare for her exam. Claude points out that she can use her magic to grow the plants instead, but Spica doesn't want to do it. He then reminds her that she's got no money to pay the school fees anyway, so she reluctantly agrees to do it. Claude finalizes her new training method and tells her to keep farming until it's time for her exam. Spica wonders if farming will really equip her with the knowledge and skills needed to pass the test, but she accepts his suggestion anyway. Then, she feels scared of making the trees grow out of control, but Claude is confident it won't happen again. As Spica casts the growth spell, one of the tree's branches viciously lashes out at her, but she stops it with her hand. Although Spica's mother is stunned, she herself is surprised that the branch didn't turn into something else. Claude explains that the limit of how much her target can grow depends on her imagination, so if she doesn't imagine it too big, it won't grow out of control. With his explanation, she feels confident that she can finally work on the farm without endangering anyone. From then on, Spica works on the farm for 6 months. She experiments with different ways to use her plant magic, like using it to shrink branches instead of manually pruning them. She also uses her magic for pest control and protection from the wind. Each day passes full of work until it's finally time for Spica to attempt Diana Academy's exam. Before leaving, she carries out one final task on the farm, and that's harvesting. After Spica collects all the enhanced, juicy oranges in just half a day, her mother congratulates her on becoming a full-fledged farmer. Then, Spica remembers that she chose magic for a career, so she wonders if her farming skills will even help her in the exam. She asks Claude, who tells her that Diana Academy's entrance exam changes every year, so it's based more on luck than pure skill. Hearing this, Spica drops the orange in her hand as anxiety takes over her thoughts. The next day, she goes to the city for her exam along with Aria. Aria simply laughs at Spica for thinking she can get in with just planting magic. Despite being nervous, Spica places her faith in her hard work and tells Aria she'll pass. Then, the two of them get on a carriage to leave for the Academy's testing venue. On the ride, Spica feels nervous, so Aria wonders what's wrong. She tells her that every applicant on the carriage feels like a challenger, so being around them gives her anxiety. Aria tells her that she considers herself number one, so she never feels nervous around other people. After some time, their carriage moves to a mountain path. Aria wonders why they're going off-roading since Diana Academy is in the capital city. While the students remain confused, a hooded figure stands close by. Suddenly, a rocky hill shatters near the carriage, turning into a massive stone golem. As the students watch in horror, the golem smashes its huge fist at their carriage. After the carriage gets destroyed, Claude pops out of Spica's bag to investigate the situation. Meanwhile, as the golem chases the defenseless students, Claude points out that golems are puppet creatures, so somebody is controlling it nearby. Spica wonders if the cultists are launching another attack against magic students, while Aria stands up against the massive enemy. Determined to protect everyone, she focuses focuses all her power and launches a hydro cannon spell, which shatters the golem's humongous body. Even Claude is impressed by Aria's impressive skill and knowledge, but he watches as the golem's broken body easily reconstructs itself. Spica gets annoyed that the golem is cheating, but Claude reminds her that she read about its weakness in the library. She remembers that golems are created around a magic core, which can be destroyed to defeat the monster. As Spica watches the golem, she notes that the rocks are all gathering around a small core in the middle. On the core, she sees the word Emeth written, which is how the golem gets activated. If she can somehow erase the E from the beginning, the word would become ineffective and cause the golem to lose all its power. Spica rushes to tell Aria about this weakness, but Claude stops her. He tells her that she'll be the hero today and defeat the golem, but Spica doesn't think that a klutz like her can do it. However, Claude reminds her that her goal is to become a first-class magician, so if she can't even protect her friend from a tiny threat, she should just give up. Hearing this, Spica grows silent and realizes that the golem is about to hit Aria. She quickly jumps in and pulls her away with a vine, leaving Aria surprised. Finally, Spica resolves herself to fight for her friend, even as her legs shake from fear. She tells Aria about the golem's weakness and wonders if she can join her in the fight. Aria doesn't mind letting her fight, but she points out that Spica looks too terrified to fight. Still, Spica refuses to back down, declaring that she'll fight to protect her friends no matter how scared she feels. Hearing this, Aria wonders how they'll destroy the golem, so Spica tells her she'll break its core. She asks Aria to shatter the golem's body again with her hydro cannon, but Aria reveals that she doesn't have the energy to use that attack again. Then, the golem attacks the girls, who jump back to avoid it. It then shifts its focus towards the other students and raises its fist high to smash down on a scared boy. As the boy screams for help, Spica rushes towards the golem and throws out some seeds. She then uses her growth magic and binds the golems using strong vines. Watching her restrain the giant monster, Aria feels stunned since she didn't think farming magic could be so strong. Meanwhile, Claude thinks that Spica is underestimating her own abilities. Having watched her work on the farm, he knows that she has trained her stamina and magic control to a great level, while mastering the only spell she knows how to cast. Nearby, Spica taunts the golem to attack her instead, so Aria gets mad that her klutz friend is actually getting the spotlight. Suddenly, the golem breaks its own body to free itself from the vines. This gives Spica the chance to destroy its core, so she gets ready to attack. However, the golem launches its own shattered body towards her at a blinding speed, leaving no time for her to attack. Spica barely defends herself with a wall of vines, but she wonders how to get out of the golem's vicious assault. Just when things look hopeless for her, Aria steps in and creates a water barrier around her. She reminds Spica that she isn't fighting alone and tells her to go ahead and finish the job. With her friend's protection, Spica can concentrate all her magic on attacking instead. This time, she targets the golem's core directly and slashes away the E letter with a strong vine. Finally, the massive monster crumbles to dust, and the students celebrate this life-saving victory. While Spica heaves a sigh of relief, Aria wonders how she became so strong. Spica tells her that she just got lucky, but suddenly, a strange man tells her that luck can never go so far. Out of nowhere, a bunch of magicians appear in front of the students. Spica wonders how the strange old man knows her name, but Claude explains that he's the Diana Academy vice principal. The vice principal, called Justice, apologizes to all the students for the confusion. He points the students towards a healer and explains that the golem attack was just a surprise exam for them. The students get angry at him for not informing them earlier, since they would have joined the fight otherwise. However, Justice points out that he wanted to test their reactions in a real life or death situation. Despite being reckless, he praises Aria for standing up against the golem before anyone else. He also praises Spica for saving her friend and other students despite being so scared herself. While the other students ran away or tried to save their own lives, these two girls stood up for everyone else. Justice explains that Diana Academy searches for people with good hearts alongside magic talents, so these two girls are the perfect fit for their academy. He declares Spica and Aria as passed and encourages the other students to try again next time. Despite passing the exam, Aria feels unsatisfied since she didn't perform as well as she could have. Meanwhile, Spica feels so happy that she thinks she's dreaming. Claude reminds her that this is just the beginning, which ruins her cheerful mood again. However, he also praises her for standing firm and fighting fighting well. This simple praise leaves Spica completely flustered, and she wonders why the smallest compliment from Claude can make her feel so good. Even though he acts mean at times, Spica knows that Claude's tips helped her defeat the golem, so she thinks that her master is truly a good person on the inside. That was the second episode. Subscribe to not miss the next part and watch the next video on screen.